So you are alone on Halloween. Chances are good that if you live in California, Oregon, Washington, Colorado, Maine, Alaska, or Massachusetts, or if you have glaucoma, you're going to get high. That weed is going to either make your horror movie experience way better or way worse. How does one maintain a sense of equilibrium on a holiday designed to scare the shit out of you? Glad you asked, viewer, because I have compiled a list of the 5 best movies to watch when you are really f***ed up.
Would you like to play a game?
So for all of these movies that we're going to be talking about, I'm going to suggest a strain of weed, a weed pairing, if you will. Sort of like a sommelier at a fine restaurant would suggest a wine to go with your steak frites. Number 5 on our list is Rosemary's Baby, which I would suggest pairing with a fine sativa, like, let's say, green crack, something to keep it nice and mellow. It stars Woody Allen's wife's mom in her most famous role ever, the lady who gives birth to the devil. Rosemary's Baby is great if you're stoned because it's from the 60s, which means it's real boring. It's also not particularly scary anymore since the devil that shows up at the end is played by a guy in a rubber suit. Sorry, spoiler alert for a movie that's twice as old as me. The music is still pretty creepy though, and there's more than enough tension to make it worth your time. Fun, scary fact about Roman Polanski: his wife and unborn child were murdered by the Manson family in their own home. Number 4 is The Conjuring, a 2013 movie about exorcism. This is an ideal weed smoking movie because it's all about jump scares. It's a perfect device to keep me from falling asleep before the delivery guy comes with your tacos. Yes, I get tacos delivered to my house. Rosemary's Baby and creepy films of that era didn't feel the need to shock you every 20 minutes like The Conjuring or Paranormal Activity, which are simple haunted house movies. If you smoke some Girl Scout cookies during The Conjuring, it's gonna even out how terrifying this movie is. Number 3 is Cabin in the Woods. We're going to be smoking some Skywalker OG with this cult classic directed by Drew Goddard and produced by Joss Whedon. You know what you need when you're high? A good twist for your marijuana-addled mind to ponder. Movie twists are great when you're high because even the shittiest ones seem profound under the influence. The only reason why I like the twist in The Sixth Sense is because I saw it when I was high. Spoiler alert for another old movie. Bruce Willis is a ghost. Cabin in the Woods starts off as a standard jump scare haunted house movie like The Conjuring, and then it takes a left turn so drastic, your weed brain might have to turn it off for a few seconds or maybe 500 minutes in order for you to process it. Number 2 is Videodrome, and with Videodrome, we're going to be smoking some Granddaddy Perp. Why? Because it's a hilarious name for anything. David Cronenberg's body horror classic is about TV, pornography, violence, and Blondie lead singer Debbie Harry. In this film, a sleazy television programmer discovers a bootleg satellite station that's broadcasting snuff films. By the end of the movie, he's pulling tumors shaped like VHS tapes out of his stomach. This movie is so strange, and there's so many creepy images that you might not sleep after watching it, but in the best way possible. Number 1 is, of course, Leprechaun in the Hood. What should you smoke with Leprechaun in the Hood? Of course you're gonna smoke Lucky Charms. This is a terrible, stupid movie about a leprechaun who goes to the hood. You see, the leprechaun needs to retrieve his magic flute, which happens to also be in the hood. This movie is intentionally hilarious, unintentionally bad, and borderline racist. Excuse me, it's actually just racist. The best part about watching this when you're high is that the leprechaun actually gets high himself, smoking a 4-leaf clover, which apparently works the same way that weed does. So this is kind of like the sing-along version of Rocky Horror Picture Show, but it's a smoke-along in this case. When the leprechaun pulls out his joint of 4-leaf clover, you get to smoke too. If you get high enough, maybe you'll start to see the leprechaun running around your home. The leprechaun could be anywhere, and that's what's so freaky about it. Because he's small, he can fit into tiny spaces. In the end, after killing everyone or putting the survivors under his spell, the leprechaun raps. Let me remind you that this is not just a leprechaun. This is the Leprechaun. Honorable mention goes to Final Destination 3, which has some crazy death scenes that are so ridiculous they have to be seen to be believed. There's nothing better than getting high, taking off your glasses, and you're like, oh my god, that is the strangest thing I've ever seen in my life. Before you go, here's a list of scary movies you should definitely not watch while high. First off is The Strangers, which is about a home invasion. I shouldn't have to tell you that you don't need to get overly paranoid that a bunch of guys in white masks are gonna break into your house, while you're high. Don't watch Twin Peaks Fire Walk with me. It's too trippy for your mind to handle. There's that scene in the bar where it's all red and there's strobe lights, and that's just too much. Your brain's gonna melt out of your ears. Finally, avoid at all costs Donnie Darko. Not because it's a bad movie, but because you've seen it too many times already. Find something better. Thanks for watching Cinemacope. Were there any movies I left off my list? Of course there were. There are like a billion horror movies. So if there are movies that you really like to watch when you're stoned, let me know in the comments.